let's talk about this word, concept. This is a word that confused me a lot when I was a new K-pop fan. Nobody really explains what this word means in relation to K-pop content, and it's not really a word that's frequently used when talking about Western artists. It's also confusing because it's used in a lot of different contexts. Groups have a concept, albums have a concept, music videos have a concept, specific songs can have a concept, even photo shoots can have a concept. And all of these concepts can be different or the same as each other. Like what? What is this mystical word that's used to explain seemingly everything in K-pop? So, when we talk about K-pop, the word concept usually refers to the overall thematic message, or for lack of a better word, vibe, of that particular group or piece of media. In short, the concept tells you what that piece of content is trying to convey. If you watch 17's Ready to Love, there's a lot of flowers and pastel colors, handwriting, and paint. It is romantic and summery and bright, and it's meant to convey a sense of lighthearted intimacy, and it's pulled off in sort of an artsy, handcrafted way. This music video is the artistic equivalent of giving the girl you like flowers and a handwritten note confessing your feelings. This is the concept. So let's apply the same thinking here. What is the concept of Taylor Swift's album Red? Well, the concept is red. Bold, classic, timeless, simple, eye-catching. Red is the color of love, of passion, and of anger. This color and what it represents is showcased in the cover art, in the lyrics, in the music videos, and most obviously in the title of this album. Taylor Swift's Red is a good example because if you ever can't quite pinpoint what a K-pop concept is, they usually directly tell you what it is. Take Stray Kids, for example. A great deal of their songs and music videos focus around the idea of being a unique individual, standing out from the crowd and being yourself, along with a little dose of teenage angst thrown in there for good measure. Their name fits their concept, even explains in remarkably concise detail what their concept is. Being a stray kid is entirely what all of their music is about. Their concept is the center point that everything else orbits around. And nowhere is this more true than with Blackpink. Their name tells you their whole concept, what their songs are about, what their songs sound like, what their music videos look like, even what they wear on stage. And just like with Red, I don't really mean this in a literal way. Like they just happen to wear the colors black and pink a lot, although this does definitely happen. But black and pink are each metaphors. They represent two very different things. And the name Blackpink showcases the way this group constantly brings the two together. Look at this music video thumbnail for On the Ground. What is black and what is pink? Rosé's dress is pink. Flowy, elegant, soft, and feminine. Her leather jacket and combat boots are black. Cool, strong, confident, and badass. In a lot of ways, black represents the antithesis of everything pink. But Rosé manages to execute both at once. Blackpink. Do you see it now? Blackpink's whole thematic concept is based around the struggle of the modern-day woman. To be elegant, soft, and feminine, while also being strong, confident, and badass. To bring these two worlds together. How do you be girly without being pigeonholed as a traditional feminine stereotype? How do you be an independent boss bitch without just being a bitch? How do you attract a guy without being too needy and clingy? How do you wear what you want without caring too much about what other people think? How do you get people to take you seriously while still being a woman? The message of Blackpink is that you don't have to choose. Women are not one-dimensional. There's an option to be both. Blackpink. You can see this executed in their styling and the clothes they wear, in the themes of their songs, in their lyrics, even in the difference between their rappers and their vocalists. Look at this contrast between Jisoo and Jennie's part in Boombayah. The pink is what everyone expected and what everyone is used to a K-pop girl group being. The black is what made them stand out, and I think largely what helped make them really popular. I tend to see a lot of complaints online about so-and-so group copying Blackpink, but I don't fully agree with the sentiments of these comments. I think other girl groups following in the footsteps of Blackpink is more of a compliment to the impact they've had on the industry than anything else. In a sense, I think the idea of the badass strong girl group is Blackpink's gift to the industry. In kind of a funny way, you can almost divide the history of K-pop girl groups into black and pink, with Blackpink appropriately bridging the gap between the two. This is not to say that groups before Blackpink didn't masterfully execute badass concepts. They did. But I think you would be hard-pressed to find a group where being badass was their entire concept. And I think it's even more difficult to find a fourth-gen girl group where being badass is not their entire concept. This is the legacy of Blackpink. When I was in high school, I had this very damaging and incorrect assumption that to be a cool, hip feminist, and more importantly, to be accepted by my friends, I had to reject everything even remotely feminine. I talked about how much I hated Twilight and romance movies and school dances and mainstream pop music. But what was truly ridiculous about all this was that I was faking. I actually really liked all of those things. But in my own personal shame and toxic social environment, I pretended like I didn't. Because I thought that if I said I liked those things, people would think I was stupid or dumb or shallow. But women are not one-dimensional, and neither is the content they consume. The rejection of femininity is not feminism. It's just another kind of misogyny. And for this reason, I really like and appreciate Blackpink's concept. And I think it sends a really positive message to their fan base. Because their concept isn't black, it isn't pink, it's Blackpink.